Welcome to your weekly AI roundup and all the news that you probably missed this week about AI and some other stuff that we end up talking about anyway. Enjoy the episode.
Let's get into it.
I knew it was coming. I knew it. Let's get it.
You said now.
There we go. Now.
Okay, the big red not recording sign has disappeared from the screen.
Over which Peter started talking the first time.
Yeah, that's because Mike said, let's start recording now. And so I just started talking.
Yep. All right. Peter's favorite day of the week, AI Roundup.
AI Roundup. Yeah. Okay. What's the first? Oh, yes. Snoop Dogg. Cool. This is great. It's just a stupid thing where you can get Snoop Dogg to call you and have a chat. I love it.
There's actually a lot of people you can talk to, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of people, especially in the recent.
Yeah.
Super helpful.
Are we going to get... Yeah, it's a good thing we're not monetized because I think we might get demonetized.
Yeah.
Or we'd get more views than ever.
You can talk to your favorite anime waifu, basically.
Yeah. Which one, though? I mean, God, there's so many.
Yeah, true.
I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's got a little gimmick thing, but it's a sort of also weird. It's definitely recognizable as not really Snoop Dogg himself. But can you play the sample that they've got?
I don't think I have audio set up. Right
that's
now.
fine. Yeah, that's fine. Does it does it have the same mannerisms and slang as Snoop Dogg?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It sounds very close to him. But if anybody hasn't, okay, this is just a stupid thing to throw in. If anybody hasn't seen this and has something to go, which you probably haven't, because that's what this roundup is all about, AI news you probably missed. Check it out. Have a look. Links in the description below.
It's just a step along the way, right? We already know that there's AI synthesis software that can, from very short samples, synthesize voices. And in fact, that's one of the things that comes up in the next story. Aza Raskin does a YouTube presentation about using AI to decode animal communications. And one of the things that he shows, which we've seen before, is that from just a 3-second audio clip, AI can do voice synthesis to simulate the rest of any sound. He shows it on piano, he shows it on a speaking voice, he shows it with animal sounds. So this stuff with simulated conversations with celebrities, even if it's not super clean right now, we have the voice recognition technology, we have the chat generation technology, we have the voice synthesis technology. This stuff is only going to get cleaner and faster and better, and probably a week from now you won't know if it's me sitting here or an AI generated version of me.
We're going back to John's point about needing some kind of identity authentication. What's the Blade Runner test that they have?
But the Blade Runner test verifies if you're
test.
Yeah. But I meant it more as there needs to be a form of when the White House holds a press conference, there needs to be some sort of verification that it is actually the White House and not a generated image, voice, and channel that is doing it. And I think that's as we saw with Russia's disinformation campaign during the early days of the invasion of Ukraine. They tried their hand at mimicking Vladimir Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, and his fake, his voice and image, and him saying that they've been defeated or whatever. So
sorry.
No, go on.
Wouldn't a way to test whether it was AI or not achieve the same thing?
Yeah, but currently we know that testing for AI is really bad. Even OpenAI themselves say that they have no good way of recognizing when something is generated.
But that's what I'm saying. If we had a Voight-Kampff test, then that could be
after the fact. Yeah, but if a BBC stream gets hijacked and they inject that North Korea declared war on America or something, and it's convincing enough, Like that could cause a lot of, or that a nuclear attack is imminent 5 minutes in, 5 minutes out, like goodbye New York kind of thing. That could be catastrophic. Like,
well, there is a whole big thing around PKI, which is public key infrastructure, which is used. Well, it's like SSL certificates for web traffic, or RPKR for like IP addresses, or BGP traffic or whatever.
We talked about,
maybe we need one for humans.
We talked about that last time, though. I think, isn't that the case you brought up, John, where you talked about you'd have to actually have authentication end to end?
Yeah, end to end. So every cable and every connection and every hop, basically every physical hop between your face being recorded to the TV screen in old Joe's house playing the recording needs to have a verification in place, a method of verification that says all the hops are valid.
Well, okay.
I mean,
so what about like SSL, right? If you could connect, if you knew you were connecting to whitehouse.gov, we do that on the internet, then we know that everything, the communication between that site and my computer is secured. Can we do that same thing with like television?
The thing is that what John's describing is actually how SSL works, because you have an installed root certificate set, which is the ones that your computer trusts. And these are the people who are authorized to issue SSL certificates. And then you have a certificate chain. So those authorized sellers can have those root certificate people who can issue certs can have resellers, and those can have resellers, and you can have a whole chain until you get to the actual certificate itself. And technically, your computer is able to check every link in the chain and verify that everything is valid. Although we don't do that because it takes too long. If you did that on every connection, you would have your computer would.
My router, for example, is not part of that chain.
Well, that's because it's only routing, right? But the difference here, the difference that I'm referring to, and this actually happens, is that you'll load a site that is supposedly SSL protected, but it'll have a little exclamation mark because the images from the CDN that they're using are not. So it'll say this is partially protected. But that's beyond the point of what I'm trying to make, which is when we're talking about it's a different, when we're talking about transmitting video specifically and authenticating the video, how do you do so without knowing if I'm actually capturing and then intercepting and then injecting a different feed through an HDMI capture card?
I guess what I'm saying though is maybe we don't have to authenticate the video if we can authenticate the source that the video is coming from.
But if I'm a sketchy Chinese, if I'm a sketchy Chinese TV provider and I sell 300,000 TVs connections to the highest bidder, I can then, what I'm trying to say is, because they're all connected to the internet, this is just an example, and they're all smart TVs, right? And we have 300,000 people watching this supposedly secure line. I can then instead inject something else at the end of the connection, right? Because the TV isn't going to actually display what do you get what I'm trying to say?
I guess I don't understand how that's different than what we have now with SSL. So, like, could I buy a device that had hardware compromised the SSL certificate? Sure, and then I can't trust the site that I'm going to. But billions of people had
problems. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's the authentication is the encryption part, which is Anyway, we're not talking about the story at all, which is talking to animals.
This is what we do.
How did we get here?
This is what we do.
So
basically, he outlines how, and this seems totally obvious, I think, right? Because ChatGPT is not speaking a language that it understands. It is using probability to predict the next word that it thinks is going to come, and basically, it's saying, instead of being trained on human words, you could train it on animal words, and it can do the same thing.
So this is actually a real life example of the Chinese room problem.
As is ChatGPT already.
Well, no, in that no human knows how to speak elephant or whatever. But we could use ChatGPT or an LLM to talk to an elephant. Like if we recorded an elephant's sounds, fed it into an LLM, and then saw whatever the response is, then it probably would make sense to the elephant, because it will be, in the same way that ChatGPT works, is it would be something that it would be expecting to hear. So, but we ourselves we're playing the music, the sounds in and out. But we don't know what's being said. We just
right.
Yeah.
Which maybe it's a more stark example, but it is exactly the same thing that's happening with English language or any other language you put into it. And it even
you understand.
But the computer doesn't. That's the point.
Right. Okay.
The audience understands.
So we're gonna be able to speak to dogs.
No, dogs will be able to speak to themselves via ChatGPT, and they will get the same vaguely confused sense of like, it's saying words that sound right, but I don't know what it's telling me.
Well, the one thing is, ChatGPT is good at translating things. So you can ask it to translate something from one language to another. So we could say, translate this from elephant
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Dog. This could be the universal translator from Star Trek.
But there has to be some reference point to that, doesn't there? Like there are no translation dictionaries that it's consumed. Course.
But there are, because people have been studying the language of animals for years. So they know that when a cat meows a certain way, it's hungry or irritated or horny or whatever. And you can take all of these different
disinterested
assumptions, right? You could take all of these assumptions. Oh my God, so much disinterest. And feed it and train it based on that. And then you can be like, are you hungry? And the response might be yes. Hungry.
Yeah.
You could have super simple, basic conversations.
I think using a few key blocks, you could get it to generate a dictionary for you.
I'm skeptical, but we'll see.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I fully predict that we're going to have a dog dictionary by the end of the year.
Big prediction from Peter, by the way. Large prediction.
Predictions are not bets, however. I would bet on that.
So we'll be rewarded.
I have not been very successful in our predictions lately. But anyway, all right, moving on. This was fun. I didn't actually play with it, but Mike, you did, right?
I tried it, and I had the same experience that some of our Discord users had, which was it just would like give me a sorry, too busy to handle your request right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with free things.
So how does this work? You upload a
You can upload a picture, or you can just start with the templates, give it an age range, give it a body type, describe what you want, set its clothing. As best I can't tell, you have to provide some clothing.
Okay.
And then it generates this image for you.
Tested that.
How soon before someone starts using this for porn?
Oh, 100%.
That's already happening. So we're already seeing AI superimposed like pictures on top of like porn videos. Like they'll swap the head.
They've made it into a free thing now, so kind of accessible deepfakes.
And you can also tell it's like one said, one example showed it as in the style of a sim, and so it was more of a cartoonish drawing. So you can tell it, give it guidance on how you want it to generate the image, photorealistic or whatever.
It's
kind of cool.
It's all very like useless, but it's fun. I mean, that's how we did it, right? Back in the day, like when the internet was just starting out, you'd have a website that showed you all the different types of apples, and like
I think a tool like about the origins of apples. And this isn't building like 3D models, but I think this could be a tool like this could be used to build 3D avatars for virtual worlds.
Yeah, for sure. I think that we're gonna see. That's a really good point. We're gonna see a lot of these types of tools, I think, in video games. To assist in character creation. You can really be super detailed, right?
I mean, you kind of do already.
No too big, no too...
but you have to fiddle with it too much.
I don't know. Have you guys ever tried to make a character in Dark Souls,
It's a big part of the game for some people that they enjoy that creation process, because it's kind of like you get to be creative and,
it's personalized.
Create your but I would love to go in and go, okay, give me a 3-legged, tall... person who looks like my mate John, and make him very happy, like that. There you go, and then upload a photo, or have like a modified version of yourself.
Right?
Okay, I want to look like Thor, please. I mean,
I think that's what we'll see. Like Oasis, right? Oasis takes a scan of you. I'm pretty sure correctly, and like you can edit the way you look or change it completely, or from Ready Player One. So like you make your avatar super personalized to you.
Is this
The
a photo
Apple,
of Peter from when he
vision.
was younger?
Yeah, the scanning, right, Peter. The
Yeah.
VR scanning from Apple on the Reality OS headset, you sit it in front of your head and then on the sides, and it takes a fucking image, a 3D model of your face that then is used to like kind of scarily talk to people in FaceTime, which was
I was going to say
again,
that is where I used to live,
scary.
but not anymore. It's a different photo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Peter's from
Cool. Are you actually playing with it now, Mike?
Yeah, I was
No, I
just
think
changing
that
some of the
was you.
settings
Okay.
while we were sitting here. Earlier it was just
All
going
right.
through, but just it looks. I don't know if it's going to time out now. It's not doing what I asked it to do. So, at any rate, how ChatGPT turned generative AI into an anything tool from Ars Technica.
Yeah. This is a very technical article. So if anybody's interested in how
Yeah.
LLMs work and what kind of advances were made, the kind of like key clever things that were done, like using feedback and training and stuff like that, check it out. It's accessible but technical.
A very, very dense article. And what I came away with was basically the idea that you can go to ChatGPT and say, summarize this article, and then paste an article into it. And without knowing what the article is, it'll summarize the article for you. I kind of felt like they were describing that same thing where you could say like, hey, here's a programming language. Using this programming language, do this thing. And ChatGPT can do that maybe more effectively than people have predicted.
Yeah, there were some interesting examples in there, like chip design, which is kind of unexpected. I did not know that, but I took it out by that. By the way, do you know about Zoom has a thing called Zoom IQ, which is something that we've been talking about lately because they've changed their articles or whatever. But
I did not put that in the rundown.
No, we didn't. But we talked about it last week. But I'm in a group that talks about AI and security, and they've set up a cool thing that uses AI to create a summary of the whole call, like meeting notes, and it also tells you what kind of language was used, like pretty dry and straightforward with the occasional excited outbursts, or so it tells you the sentiment and everything. It's really, really useful, really handy. Like I hate doing minutes, but yeah. Yeah, it's very cool. So they came to a couple of conclusions at the end of the Ars Technica article.
Moving on,
and yeah. So it talked about how there's this flexible approach of turning LLMs designed for chat interaction into general purpose processing tools, and how it forms a framework that could be applied across lots of things. You take a generic LLM and then different data sets, and you get some customized output, which is just pretty cool. So yeah.
Yep. This article on VentureBeat, I have very mixed feelings about. Princeton University AI Snake Oil authors, that's the title of the book, AI Snake Oil, says generative AI hype has spiraled out of control. Did either of you read the article?
Yeah. And it's by two people who are trying to sell a book.
Well,
so it's very biased.
I know. And this is why I'm torn by it. Because, well, the point that they're making is like, don't get sucked into thinking of AI as a one size fits all solution to every problem the world has, which is true, but does it really need to have a book written about it? Yeah,
so they originally wrote this, published this paper in 2019 about how AI hype is it's not going to happen anytime soon. And then of course ChatGPT came along, and they're like, oh yeah, that's not what we meant. I feel like they're focusing on, it's not this kind of AI that's going to be. We're talking about a different kind. It's like
a better AI, like a real AI, and
like real AI. No, that's not going to happen.
My mom got a little bit scared. She listened to this talk with a very smart guy from MIT talking about AI and the threat that AI brings to our way of life. And I had to explain to her, I have to calm her down and explain, like, this is the current situation that we're in. This thing isn't thinking, right? Like, it's not capable of thinking. It's not ChatGPT. It's a really, really convincing copy paste. What's wrong, Peter?
I'm not gonna say it.
Okay,
I'll say it.
And
all right.
Does it
Well, does
matter
make a
if it
difference?
seems
It's
like
not
it
really
does?
big.
Yeah, right. Isn't it convincing enough to think that it is? So it is. Because that's humanity. It's like, no, Peter, that's not. Okay?
All right.
As of right now, all ChatGPT did was read the whole web, okay? And is using confidence, it's using statistical confidence to reply with what it believes is the most accurate response. That's
I'm
it.
not your mom, all right? So
It's a copy paste tool.
I mean, we just had that whole
I don't-
Chinese room example with, although you're convinced that it'll allow us to actually have a universal translator. So
absolutely 100%.
But we're already seeing that some AI glasses, I forget the name of, I should have been a little bit more prepared, but they are currently trying to
That's not what
break
we do.
this barrier. These glasses that are AR, they are translating in real time. That is amazing. I could be sitting, if me and a, like, I don't know, Malaysian person are sitting across from one another, they could speak Malaysian and I could speak, I think that's what they speak in Malaysia, and I could speak English to them and we would understand each other. Having in real time subtitles in front of us. Like, that's crazy.
I mean, what
Yeah.
Peter described about the Zoom IQ almost is headed in that direction.
The system that I was talking about was a custom thing, but Zoom IQ, I think, basically does the same thing. Is just to be clear about that. I think that but then the problem with that, John, is that the only episodes we'd have left is when we encounter races that speak through light and smell and things like that. So
Yeah,
I don't
can't
know.
computers
We're gonna
learn
have to
that?
figure that out.
The story writers are going to have to, stretch their legs a bit. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
All right. Well, that was a fun weekly AI roundup. Please subscribe because if you don't, you're an AI. I don't know.
Prove me your consciousness.
Yeah. It's, our capture is right below. Just click that button and you get to watch all of our episodes.